Welcome back to the Nick Night Show. Like I mentioned before, we have an amazing guest joining us today, and I wanted to have her on because as a man, I think it's important to hear women out, and I have a love for women. And so we're going to have a single lady joining us to talk about what it's like for single ladies out there. Koereyelle Dubose of the Single Wives Club. Thank you for joining us on the Nick Night Show. How are you?
Hey, Nick. How are you?
We're definitely happy to have you on. And, we want to talk to you about that single life. But before we do that, can you tell our audience a little bit about you, your organization, and what led you to starting it?
So I'm Koereyelle Dubose, the founder and CEO of the Single Wives Club, which is an education and empowerment organization that prepares single women to become wives. And so our mission is to prepare single women to become wives, to nurture femininity, and to protect family. And honestly, it didn't start as a business scheme. It started out of personal need. After I ended an engagement in 2010, I wanted to figure out what I needed to do so that I would be prepared to become a wife, because I realized I just didn't have my stuff together, and that ending the engagement was the best decision I could make. And so from there, I started to do a lot of soul searching, wanted to learn the basics, started to try to learn how to cook. And me and my girlfriend started getting together for these parties, and we started discussing these other areas that we needed to improve in, or skills that we needed to learn so that we could be prepared to become wives. And the rest is history.
Now, one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on was to talk about the single life from a single lady's perspective. So to be clear, are you single?
I am single until I'm married.
It seems to me there's a lot of amazing women out there that are single, especially Black women. Now, why do you think that is?
I definitely think that more Black women find ourselves single because we create this strict list and this box that we want Mr. Right to fit in. He's going to be this height, he's going to have this much money, he's going to drive this car, he's going to go to this school, and we limit ourselves. It's very hard to find somebody that fits into that box. Whereas men and other cultures of women are much more open-minded. They're not looking for that one thing. They're looking for somebody who will be a part of their life and who could fit into, the life that they want to live. And I think that's one thing that we as Black women have to do, is stop limiting ourselves by what he looks like, what kind of car we think he's going to pull up in, even his skin tone. You might have to take a walk to the other side of town and get outside of that box. So I just think that Black women have to stop limiting ourselves.
Now, something else out there that I hear women say all the time is, I got standards. The word standards, right? And I understand having standards, but it seems like some women take that to the extreme. Now, what do you think of that?
I think there's a big difference between standards or preferences and things that there's difference between preferences and priorities. What is most important to you? That would obviously be your priority. Preferences, that's height, that's skin complexion, that's the type of hair. Those are the superficial things. So I think that knowing, having those two things straight, this is what I want, this is what I can live without, this is what I absolutely cannot live without, but you don't have to be so strict and ridiculous with the standards that you have.
There's a song that goes INDEPENE. I don't want to, misspell the word, but basically the concept is celebrating women that are independent. Now, do you think that some women take that concept too far to where it comes off like, I don't need a man, hence are not able to attract one?
Absolutely. And I think that is the number one reason why a lot of successful women are single, is because they have made up in their mind that they can do everything themselves. They don't need a man. And so if you've cut yourself off from that, it's obvious you're not attracting that. You're not open to receiving a man if you're saying that I don't want one or I don't need one. And I think there's a very big difference between being independent and knowing that you can do everything on your own, and knowing that, okay, I'm independent now, but one day I want to transition into being interdependent and having someone who has my back, who is my better half, who I can share my life with. And I think there's a big difference between the two.
We have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with Koereyelle Dubose of the Single Wives Club.
The Nick Night Show, sponsored by Hennessy VS. Never stop, never settle.